Welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and I did not expect to be doing another video about Dragon Age and the nonsense around this game. This is the latest AAA title that needs protected by gaming journos and Redditors at all costs. You have to protect this game from the toxic chuds, including Asmongold. Apparently, he got perma-banned from the Dragon Age subreddit. He's not allowed to show his face there. He's not allowed to have any opinions. His followers are not allowed to have any opinions there. We know how these things work, right? I remember during the height of the Comicsgate scare that if you even talked about Comicsgate, you would be banned from many, many subreddits because Reddit is just absolutely infected to its very core with wokeness. Let's be honest. The woke mind virus has completely overtaken Reddit, and there's no coming back. It's a real shame too, because man, I was in the ground floor of Reddit back in the day when it first started. I thought it was great. I was like, oh, it's like one giant centralized message board. This is fantastic. And most of the people that were on Reddit were pretty tech savvy, and the people on there now, they're not. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just, they got no place else to go. And they set up their little fiefdoms over there, and then they gatekeep anybody they don't like, anybody with dissenting opinions. Everybody's a Nazi, according to some parts of Reddit. Anyway, let's talk about this. Before we get into anything further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Thank you so much. Check out Clownfish Minus, join the Reef. You get some exclusive content, podcasts, and we're working on some other stuff too, trying to figure out what we're going to offer you guys. You guys have been fantastic. Our first month was really, really good, so thank you so much. We're doing this because I don't trust YouTube. I'm going to be honest. I've said it before. I do not trust YouTube. I've seen Google collapse the blogosphere. A lot of independent websites that within the last 6 or 8 months have been completely destroyed by Google, and I am wondering if YouTube isn't going to be next. That they're going to crush certain content creators in favor of corporate produced content, in favor of AI generated content. You know, I could see a future where Google just spins up a video a la carte. You know, you do a search query for like, hey, I want to know about the French Revolution, and it'll just spin up an AI generated video with a bunch of non-white people, non-binary people in the French Revolution. And it'll give you a historical reenactment-ish kind of adjacent to, and that's going to be the truth according to Google. And I really do think this company needs to be broken up. And I do talk about that more in a podcast on Clownfish Minus. I think I'm going to be posting it today. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, but that's neither here nor there. Reddit is another one, and Reddit and Google love each other. Like Google is pulling AI snippets from Reddit all the time. It's quoting mentally ill people that they're the authoritative source, I guess. But yeah, they don't like Asmongold very much. According to Deserto, Asmongold is baffled after instantly getting perma-banned from the Dragon Age subreddit. He was left dumbfounded after being instantly banned when he attempted to make a post. In a clip published on November 1st on the streamer's secondary YouTube channel, a user on his community subreddit claimed that any Reddit account subscribed to Asmongold was automatically prevented from posting on the Dragon Age subreddit. God, that's weird. He said, I just got auto-banned from the Dragon Age sub because I was also subscribed to Asmongold, the user stated. They, subreddit monitors, felt I violated community rules. My comment was regarding how long it takes to get through the Inquisition story. Irony, the Inquisition. Eager to test the theory for himself, Asmon subsequently drafted his own post on the same subreddit titled, I'm really excited for Dragon Age Veilguard, followed by, it's my first Dragon Age game and I'm curious to see what all the hype is about. I can't wait to find out my gender identity through this video game. That's fantastic. I've had questions since I was a young teen, and this video game can answer those questions for me. Immediately upon hitting post, the thread was restricted, awaiting moderator approval, only to be removed entirely moments later. Bemused by the situation, Asmongold received a message from the Dragon Age subreddit moderation team informing him that he had been permanently banned from participating in r/Dragon Age due to breaking the community's rules. You're Asmongold. That is the community rule that you're breaking. Further elaborating, moderators confirmed that due to too many repeated infractions of our civility and bigotry rules from users of this community, Asmongold, we have decided to automatically revoke access to our subreddit as a preventative measure so that our community at large can focus on actual criticism of the game without getting involved in the war against woke culture. I didn't know that Asmongold was in the war against woke culture. That's the thing. A lot of people that get roped into this, they don't start out that way. It's people like these Reddit moderators that sort of push you in that direction. That's kind of what happened with us. Like, I don't even consider myself a culture warrior at all. I really don't. Historically, I've always been kind of a left-leaning moderate. But these crazy motherfuckers are the ones that actually kind of push you in the other direction. Like, God, you are just so sensitive and so mentally ill in a lot of cases, and so terrified of losing whatever little scrap of power that you have online, whether it's a subreddit or a blog or whatever it is, that they just absolutely lose their shit on anyone. And again, I saw this with comics too. You were not allowed to objectively talk about the situation with Comicsgate on any subreddit. You weren't allowed to post about it on comic book resources. Anybody mentioned it, even the word Comicsgate, they would bleep out certain letters in the word Comicsgate on Twitter, so you couldn't even search for it because they were going to unperson. They were going to unperson it. You couldn't objectively talk about it. So what you had to do was wait for the official story, which came from biased journalists who tried to paint it as just a bunch of Nazis decided to make comic books one day, just out of the blue. And here's a list of all the Nazis that are making comic books, so you can not buy their comic books. And poor old Mark Waid, he was just trying to fight the Nazis, and they just kept picking on him. And then he had to do what he had to do because, he always punched Nazis. And yeah, you never got a straight story. Now, is the truth in a lot of cases, is it more complicated than, is it black and white? No, it's usually pretty messy, right? But you couldn't even discuss any of it. You couldn't discuss Comicsgate. You couldn't discuss Gamergate. There are certain, I know that like some of the Star Wars forums, even before we started getting into this stuff, because some YouTubers were using our articles from a couple of our blogs in their videos, they would ban linking to any of those blogs. They're like, they're part of the alt-right. Don't link to their blogs because they don't like Disney Star Wars. Clearly, they're just Nazis. It's so ridiculous, right? This whole thing is so ridiculous. Now, as far as Dragon Age Veilguard goes, it looks like a dumb game. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how it's performing. I'm trying to get some data on that. I think it's underperforming given the amount of money they spent on it. And I don't think this is going to be enough to save BioWare. They're not in a very good place right now. A lot of these AAA studios aren't in a very good place right now. But this kind of shit isn't going to sell games. You know this, right? This guy's a huge streamer. And this is anti-marketing. When you do shit like this, it definitely hurts the brand. When you've got certain people, gatekeepers, politically minded people standing for and gatekeeping certain fandoms or certain games or movies or whatever it is, if they track you down on the internet, they track you down on Twitter to lecture you or to, whatever, they put you on a list or whatever. That is actually anti-marketing. If I were a publisher, I'd be like, yeah, okay, these people don't speak for us and we're not going to promote any of this. But we know that in a lot of cases, now I can't speak to Dragon Age in particular, but I know with comics and with other games, and with movies and TV shows, a lot of times people associated with the shows were actually pulling the strings, and they were using internet accounts as proxies. Maybe it wasn't them actually posting this shit, but they were weaponizing people. They were weaponizing people to use to get to their enemies, to get to people that were critical of their stuff, right? Because they knew that at the end of the day, if their bosses saw this shit, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's not worth it. Let's just pull the plug, or you're fired, or whatever. And I think this has happened on multiple occasions. I think part of the reason Victoria Alonzo got gone from Marvel was because it was like constant outrage after outrage after outrage. And then the VFX situation, she was in charge of the VFX at Marvel, and that just gave Disney the reason to get rid of her. There's, oh yeah, it's because she mismanaged the VFX. It's like, no, she ran phase 4 and 5 into the ground. They gave her kind of carte blanche to do what she wanted. Of course, Feige had to sign off on that, but she's the one who had the brain fart to turn Namor, who was always a pretty cool Marvel character, into Namor, and just change everything about him. And She-Hulk and all this other dumb shit. So I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is another stupid internet controversy that will backfire tremendously and probably result in fewer copies of this game getting sold, because now this game is going to have a reputation, correct or incorrect, and I think it's correct based on the clips I saw yesterday, of being a woke game for wokies, for Redditors, for people from certain forums, Resetera or whatever, is a relic from 2015. And it'll be left in the dust here pretty soon, I think. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later. Join the reef. Go to clownfish-.com. That's clownfish-.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt, on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfish-.com. Thank you so much for the support.